Thank you, Val, or Dr. Moore, as he's officially known. It would be the grossest understatement that I've ever made in my life if I were to say what a pleasure, honor, tribute, and humbling experience it is to be here today and to represent Randy Snow and his family in this ceremony. The only thing that could make this ceremony any more exciting or any more eventful would be if Randy were here to make these comments himself. Well, it's well recognized that Randy, his pioneering spirit, his laser focus, helped change the game of wheelchair tennis all over the world. But his modest manner would prevent him from standing or sitting here and telling you of all his accomplishments. So I'm not going to do that again today. It's well documented. I'm going to mention a few catalysts hurriedly that were the highlights or the events that we feel were the catalysts for Randy's success. First, Randy would obviously mention the name of Brad Parks, who was inducted into this Hall of Fame in 2010. Brad provided the leadership and the spark that launched the sport of wheelchair tennis. And without his vision and persistence, Randy would not have been able to accomplish what he did. It's all due to what Brad already had in place when Randy became part of the wheelchair tennis. When I was young, I had a hero by the name of Lou Gehrig. Most of you don't know Lou Gehrig, but when I was young, he was my hero. Randy's hero was Brad Parks. Some of you will recall the fierce and friendly rivalry that Brad and Randy had when they were competitive athletes. Those matches, if you recall, were so outstanding that they resulted in helping the opportunity to be here today. Thank you, Brad. Secondly, in Randy's wheelchair career, he had the very good fortune to meet the man that was just up here previously. He's known as the man of theory. When Dr. Moore met Randy, Dr. Moore was contemplating retiring, but he and Randy got together and started talking about wheelchair tennis. I'm sure Randy begged him to not retire. They got together and they formed a very, very powerful partnership. His efforts were invaluable in Randy's career. They published books, they conducted clinics and camps, and we owe you, Val, everything. Next, I'd mention, if you read Randy's book, Pushing Forward, he mentions in there a lady by the name of Marilyn Hamilton. Marilyn had a serious accident where a hang glider crashed, and later on, she was trying to decide what she could do for wheelchair athletes, and she couldn't understand why the aluminum in hang gliders couldn't be made into athletic wheelchairs. Randy met her, and the rest is history. She already had a company named Quickie Designs. They got together, and through her technology skills and Randy's athletic skills, they partnershiped, and so that today, all of the wheelchair athletes now have what is known as a Quickie wheelchair that started with Marilyn. So I can't give enough credit for Marilyn. She's right there with Val and Brad Parks and Randy's success. Then we get down to friends and family. A lot of the family people are here today. There's, I think, some 8 of us all here together. He has a large, large family. It's blended, extended, and every kind of mixed up that you can make. But they're all here today in spirit, and they'll be following what we do here today very closely. As friends, as for friends, if there was ever a Pied Piper, it was Randy Snow. Randy Snow could meet people, and whether it was a U.S. president or someone wanting him to be the godparent of their children, or children at clinics, they all migrated to Randy, I say like bees to honey. He had this personality that he obviously got from his mother. He certainly didn't get it from me. And I've got to recognize her, or Randy will be quite upset with me, that there's one person in this crowd today or watching on television that we should recognize as being the person that was the bedrock of Randy's career, his personal life, which ran from the heights to unfathomable depths. And that's his mother, who's sitting over here at the end of this row right here. Randy had so many friends that we'd be here till 6 o'clock tonight if I started trying to name them, so I'm not going to name any of them. They all know who they are. We know who they are. And I hope that they're able to see this and hear me, for me to express to them all of the appreciation that Randy has and the family has for their support. Finally, we get down to the organizations. Without these organizations, Randy would not have been able to receive this award or participate in any of the clinics or anything else that he accomplished. And they're all familiar names, but I've got to mention them. I'm not going to get into the people in those organizations because there's too many of them, and they've been so helpful that it'd be impossible to even try to name all their names. But I would like to mention the United States Tennis Association, the United States Professional Tennis Association, the International Wheelchair Federation, the International Paralympic Committee, and several others that I'm sure I'm going to miss. And of course, there's the granddaddy of them all, the International Tennis Federation. When Randy was in El Salvador teaching at a children's clinic, and he had his heart attack and died, he was at a children's tennis camp that was being sponsored in part by the International Tennis Federation. And our dealings with them since Randy's passing are unbelievable, and there's no way that we can possibly show all of our gratitude and appreciation for all that they've done on behalf of Randy. And by doing that, they've also shown their support for wheelchair tennis, and they've embraced wheelchair tennis, and so that now then we're slowly getting to the point to where people are beginning to realize that physically impaired athletes are really no different from able-bodied athletes. They have that one problem, but that's the only difference, and they deserve the recognition and support that everyone's getting, and that we're just about to that part through efforts of these organizations that I just named. In closing, in Randy's book, Pushing Forward, he quotes a fellow by the name of Dr. Bryce Young, of the Vandermeer Tennis Academy. And in that, he said there are 3 stages of an athlete's career. First stage is he creates his image through his body, his talents, his self-determination. Second stage, he goes out and he achieves awards, honors through his athletic success. And the third stage is he becomes a statesman, showing compassion for his fellow man and people that have the same aspirations that Randy had. I'm not going to mention Randy's quote, but I would submit that there's one more stage that we're here because Randy's not here, and I'd like to add the word legacy to that. After statesmanship, we need to consider legacy. And we, through the new Randy Snow Wheelchair Pushing Forward Foundation, we're going to do that. We're going to continue his legacy, and so that his name and his legacy go on for generations way past everybody that's here in this audience today. So, as Randy would say, thank you, good luck, keep pushing forward, and hook 'em horns. Please.
Tom, at this time, on behalf of the Board of Directors, I'm happy to give you this certification of the induction of Randy Snow into the International Tennis Hall of Fame.